This is the money shot. That's the flat, and that's the point with all that barbecue sauce on it. And what I do is I slice this up, dip it in that barbecue sauce. So we still got, look at that juice. You see that juice come out of there? Look at that. Man, oh man, oh man. Dude, this is insane, dude. You see that? That is literally insane. It's still pouring out of there. Insane. Look at that bark. Let me show it to you. Look at that juice. You see that? Here. And I want to say this to you guys. Don't be intimidated by these big pieces of meat. Okay? When I was picking up some of them, I even had the butcher to say to me, how you going to cook that big old chunk of meat? What are you going to do with it? And he cuts it up. Okay? So I want to kind of explain to you guys. This is the flat. This on the brisket. This is called the flat. Over here, the far inside, this is called the point. Here is lean meat. Okay, so you only cut this when you're getting ready to eat it. Okay, because it's so lean, it has no fat running through it at all. Okay, it all depends on which part that you like. This over here is the point. It has fat running through it, and when we cook this bad boy for between 15 and 20 hours, all that fat renders down. Okay, and it becomes real tender. You know, like you guys on ribs, you like burnt ends. We're going to do burnt ends with the point. Okay, and as we go along this process, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to be smoking them with some hickory wood. A friend of mine gave me some wood. He chopped down a tree a couple of months ago, and I asked him, could I have some of the logs? So he said, sure, Cam, ain't no problem. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to start on the brisket. I'm going to trim some of the fat off, and I'm going to let you guys see me trimming the fat off. And we're going to do a little bit different this time around. We got our own dry rub. We created our own dry rub, and I'll show that to you. But for right now, we're going to use a salt and pepper base, and we're going to let that smoke do all the flavor. We're going to lighten up on the dry rub, okay? And we're just going to give a healthy, liberal dose of the salt and pepper on everything, and we're just going to come in with a little slight sprinkle of the dry rub, okay? So sit back, relax. I want to tell you guys, it's been so hot outside that I'm not fishing. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys, you've seen me smoke before, chickens, pork butts, but this time I don't have any with the brisket. This is a long cook, so I'm going to be chopping it up, going back and forth, showing you guys along the way this cook, okay? There's fat on here, okay? A lot of it I don't need. It's not going to do anything, so we're going to take it off. Not all of it, but just some of the thick fat. Some of it's good fat. We want to leave the good fat. Okay, like this big chunk here, we're going to remove that, because this isn't going to cook down at all. We're going to remove that off. Let's get a little bit more of it. And by the way, I bought this electric knife because I got a lot of fish to fillet. So I didn't really buy it for doing this, but I figured since we had it handy, we're going to go ahead and use it. Why not make life a little bit easier? You see that? You see that thick piece? We don't need that. All right? With the grain, let me kind of show you what I do. So this is the flat here. Let me see if I can turn it this way. This is the flat. Let me pull you back just a little bit so you guys can see it. So I know how I'll be cutting against the grain. So I'm going to make one small cut. Let me slide it down a little bit so you guys can see it. So I won't have to go back through and know where I'm cutting at. So when it's smoking, and I pull it off the grill, I'll know where to start cutting at. Ground pepper. Okay, if you have fresh ground, that's even better. But I'm just using it straight out of the can, okay? And let me tell you this, you cannot season this too much, because all it is just a hunk of meat. Okay, salt and pepper is where we live. I got the big thing of pepper, but I like it chopped up kind of fine. So that's why I'm using this one. Okay. We're going to salt and pepper this bad boy on both sides. And then I'm going to use some sea salt. Not regular salt, but sea salt. Okay, we're just going to salt this bad boy up real good. I mean, you want to be very liberal. with your salt. Very little. There we go. All right, so we're gonna flip this bad boy over and we're gonna do the same on the other side. Okay, this is my dry rub. I make my own, matter of fact, let me show it to you. I make my own dry rub, okay? So I'll have the ingredients down there. We're not gonna be that generous with the dry rub on this go around. Normally I am generous with it, but because we have a salt and pepper base, we're just gonna go ahead and just lightly coat it or sprinkle it on. Not a lot. Okay? So we're just gonna lightly coat it. And we're gonna pat it in. Okay, so all we're gonna do is flip it over and we're gonna do the same thing with the other side, okay? So all we're gonna do now is season the other side. Lightly season it. Lightly season it. Okay, we're gonna let the smoke do everything. Remember, slow and low is what we're looking for. Slow and low. Matter of fact, we're gonna lightly season the chicken as well. We're not gonna put a heavy dose on it. All right. And I'm gonna put this back in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Okay, there you go. And I'm gonna show you guys the chickens next. Virtually, I'm gonna do the same thing with these chickens. I got 2 chickens, I'm cutting them in half. Normally I would do 3 or 4 chickens, but we don't have enough room because of the brisket. Okay, so all we're gonna do is salt and pepper these the same way. I wanted you guys to see that I cut them up in half. If you decide to cut them up in, in breast, drumstick, thighs, it's up to you. Okay, but again, we're gonna use lightly seasoned on these. Like, we're gonna go heavy on the salt and pepper, but our dry rub, we're gonna do that very easy and lightly. Okay, we're just gonna give it a light dusting. All right, so we're gonna put that pepper on there. Matter of fact, let me turn it to the side so you guys can't see that. And we're just gonna add the salt and pepper. We're gonna do both of these the same way. Okay, and we're gonna flip them over. I'm gonna rub it in, I'm gonna flip them over and do the same thing to the chickens. And then we're gonna put the dry rub on there. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like after I put the dry rub on, okay? Let's put this in there. And listen, while I'm on the downtime, while I'm doing something, you guys can get yourself something to drink and come back and join me real quick, okay? And again, I'm just gonna give it a light dusting. I'm not gonna do a lot like I normally do, okay? We're gonna try something different this go around. All right, make sure that's rubbed in real good between the wings. Gotta make sure we get all that. Okay, like the wings right there. Make sure we get underneath there. All right. Make sure we get underneath the wings. And we're gonna flip it over. We're gonna do the same thing. There we go. There we go. Flip those bad boys over. Flip that over. Light little dusting. Here, my chickens don't take that long, and they don't take a lot of smoke. So you got to be careful with your chicken not to over smoke your chicken. That's very important. Now the beef, that's a different story. So all I'm going to do with the chicken is about 7 hours of smoking, and then I'm going to take it and wrap it in foil and leave it. We're going to keep it over the slow heat. But you don't want too much smoke on your chicken because it'll take on that smoke really heavily, okay? So, but the beef is a different story. We can slow and low with it for a long time. Remember that saying, if you're looking, you ain't cooking, all right? Remember that. Let's get everything together. Okay, you can see these are the dry logs, and here's my offset cooker, okay? We're getting everything ready, and I got about, I'd probably say about 8 logs in here that have been soaking in the water for about 3 hours now. This is what's going to give us our smoke effect. This is going to give us heat. This is going to give us smoke. And I want to say this to you guys. I don't do anything difficult, guys. Look at the cooler. Look what I'm soaking in. Matter of fact, you can see our sticker right there. I just do simple stuff. All right, if I can do this, anybody can do this. All right, we're just gonna put this meat on. We're gonna be smoking it for about 18 to 20 hours. We're gonna do low and slow. That's the name of the game, okay? Poppy's down there thinking she's a security guard. She's only 6 pounds, soaking wet. So just stay tuned. I'm getting ready to put the meat on, and I'm gonna film it. I'm gonna post it so you guys can see it. You have any questions, you know how to DM me. You know how to reach me. All right. And we got our meat ready. I want to show it to you. Remember, now I didn't go heavy on my dry rub, which is generally what I do, but I went ahead and went heavy with the salt and pepper. Okay, here's the chicken. Okay, we got 2 whole chickens. I cut them in halves, and here's that 15-pound brisket. Okay, let me show it to you real good. You guys can see that dry rub. And also over here, let me see if I can locate it. I guess it's on the flip side. I've already made the cut where I'll be cutting against the grain. Okay, when it's done, so I'll know how to cut that brisket. And again, here's the point, and here's the flat. This is what you make sandwiches out of. My mouth is watering already. And this right here, we're going to make the burnt ends out of it. And of course, you see the chickens in the halves, okay? So stay tuned, just hold tight for a little bit, guys. I'm getting ready to put it on the smoker. As a matter of fact, let me show you the smoker. We got the smoke, it's ready to go. Okay, here's my firebox. Got my smokestack going. I got it all the way full open right now, and my ideal temperature is about 225 is where I want to live at. Okay, so if I need to adjust my firebox, I just come over here and adjust this. If it's burning too hot, then I trim it down a little bit. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and put the meat on. Now remember, we want to keep this bad boy here away from the heat as much as possible. Okay, as much as possible. This is where the heat's going to be coming from, the far end. Okay, that's where the heat's coming from. Now let's go ahead and put the chickens on as well. We want to protect that white meat, so we're going to go up here. Bingo. Fantastic. Let's put this bad boy here on right here. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and put this last one on here. Now for me, I like to stay as far away from that heat as possible. Okay? I want to stay as far away from that heat as possible. Boy, that hickory smoke is really doing its thing. Slide these down. There we go. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. Now we're going to close this bad boy up here. And listen, matter of fact, let me see if I can show it to you. Every 30 minutes, we're going to be spritzing with apple juice. Okay, and every now and again, I may sprinkle a little bit more dry rub on there. So you can get these spray water bottles at any big box store that you want. But right now, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. If it gets a little bit too hot, close your firebox off a little bit, close your chimney. You can see how smoke is burning real clean right now. Let me pull it up. And I want to show you guys this. We're going to spritz with apple juice. Okay? Every hour and a half, you want to spritz with the apple juice. Let me show it to you. And this is very important. You got to have a water source. You see I put the water over here on the side. Okay? That helps keep your meat moist. That's very, very important. So listen, get you something cold to drink. We got a long day ahead of us. I'm going to come back and let you check on the 3-4 hour mark. Okay? Let me show you the temperature too. Slow and low is the name of the game. You can see the little babies down there. You can see all the other babies right there on the edge. They hang out because I feed them twice a day. Okay, so we're 4 hours in. Let's look at the temperature. It's about 250, which is good. Okay, let's look at our firebox here. We're going to stir it up a little bit. All right, we're going to add some smoke to it. That right there is heat. All right, you can see the smokestack. The smoke's burning pretty clean. Starting to develop. It should be nice and firm right now. We still got a long, long, long way to go. Okay, and we're going to spritz it again. Let's check our water level on our cans. We're doing pretty good. And we're going to add, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and spritz right now. Here we go with apple juice. Bring it back a little bit so you guys can see. You can see the chicken starting to develop that marble color, starting to brown. That's just the way we want it. Now the chicken's somewhat a little bit different. We're going to smoke this meat a long way, but about another hour, hour and a half, we're going to stop the smoke on the chicken, okay? And we're going to wrap it in foil, probably another 2 hours, because you can overcook, you can over smoke chicken. All right, so we got that spritzed real good. All right, so we're going to add one of these wet logs on there, and we're going to let it do what it does. That's all we got to do, guys. Listen, this is just slow and low. That's the name of the game, all the way through, okay? Boys and girls, we are now at the 10, 11 hour mark, okay? So what I'm going to do with the chicken, I'm getting ready, I spritzed it up really, really good. I mean a real good dose of that apple juice. You can see the caramel color that has formed from that apple juice, okay? And from keeping that heat. Matter of fact, let me show you those burnt ends, what I'll be using on that brisket. You see the fire's still going. I'm letting it burn. I'm finished with smoke with the chicken, okay? And from here on out, I'm going to be using straight heat, okay? I'm going to take the chickens. I'm getting ready to wrap them up in aluminum foil, just like I did this one. I've gotten an internal temperature of 170 degrees, which is where I like it. And I'm going to wrap them. I'm not finished with the smoke. I'm going to do all heat from here on, okay? So we will be finished about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, all right? So I got about another 6 hours to go, 6, 7 hours to go. But everything's looking good. You can see the brisket. See that moisture in there? You got to see it? And I'm starting to get a puddle right here. We still got a long way to go on that brisket. And you can see where I cut. So when I pull it off and it rests, I'm going to let it rest for about 8 hours in the cooler. I'm going to have everything wrapped in towels, okay? And I know where to cut against the grain because I made that cut before when I was seasoning it, okay? As a matter of fact, let me see if I can show you guys this. See that juice? See that juice? My mouth is watering already. Look at that. Look at that juice. You see that? So we're going to let it continue to do its thing. We're going to wrap the chickens up to keep the moisture in there and let them keep cooking for another couple of hours. And we want it to cook in its own juices. So guys, this is what I do, man. I just hang out and I do this. Look, as a matter of fact, look how much apple juice. I've cut through half the bottle already. So we're going to spritz this bad boy real good one more time, and we're going to wrap it in double layers of aluminum foil, heavy duty aluminum foil, okay? If you prefer butcher paper on the chicken, that's fine. Use butcher paper, all right? But I'm using aluminum foil. Right now, let me show you guys a real good close-up of the brisket. What I'm looking for in the flat and also in the point, I am looking for an internal temperature between 195 and 200, 203, somewhere about that, okay? And understand that I still got about 5 more hours to cook, okay? So I'm still looking in good shape. Let me see if I can show you the thermometer there. Let's see where we're at. We're at about 170. Okay, that's the point. Let's take a look at the flat. We're at about 180, 175, 180. Okay, so we still got, look at that juice. You see that juice come out of there? Look at that. Man, oh man, oh man, dude, this is insane, dude. You see that? That is literally insane. It's still pouring out of there. Insane. Look at that bark. Let me show it to you. Look at that juice. You see that? So we're gonna crank this fire up a little bit more, and we're gonna let this bad boy continue to cook. Remember, the heat is coming out here. We're all the way back on the far end, so that smoke will come here and go up through the smokestack. So that smoke is just passing through. That bad boy is still bubbling. Look at that. Let me see if I can show it to you. Let me see if I can pull it out. So we're going to go another 5 hours, 6 hours. We're going to let this go. We're going to crank the firebox back up again. Okay. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and put a log on there now, and we're going to let this right here run. This log right here lasts us about 2 hours right here. Okay. So we're going to leave the firebox open and let that catch. You can see the chicken. The chicken is already come up to temperature. I'm satisfied with that. So the chicken is just cooking in its own juice right now. I got it double wrapped in aluminum foil. But let me say this. I'm going to wrap my brisket in butcher paper. Okay? In about another 3 hours, after that bark is on there, I'm going to separate the point from the flat. And I'm going to wrap that flat and let it continue to cook. Then I'm going to take these burnt ends here and I'm going to put them in a pan with some barbecue sauce, Worcestershire sauce, and some beef broth. And I'm on an aluminum pan. I'm going to put it in the oven. Okay, we're going to let that bad boy just cook, or I may put it back on the grill and just let it just do its thing. So those burnt ends can really get that flavor in it with the barbecue sauce, the Worcestershire sauce, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let me show you guys what I did. I separated the flat from the point. Okay, we're getting ready to cut this up, and we're going to cut the point, which has the gristle and the fat running through it. You can see it right here. You can see how juicy it is. Look how juicy it is. Okay, you guys see that? Look how juicy that bad boy is. And you can see the smoke ring. Let me see if I can show it to you. See that smoke ring on the outside? See that smoke ring? Okay, you see that right there? That's a smoke ring. So I'm going to cut this up into cubes, okay, with a little bit of help from, I'm going to add in my pan. Let me see if I can get it here so you guys can see it. I'm going to add beef broth. I'm going to add some barbecue sauce and some Worcestershire sauce in this pan, and I'm going to use these burnt ends. Look at this bark. See that bark right there? I'm going to use that bark, and I'm going to make burnt ends out of this. And I'm going to cut it up in cubes, and then we're going to put it in here, and we're going to put it back on the grill for another 3 hours. And meanwhile, the flat, which I'm getting ready to show that to you in a minute, I wrapped it up in butcher paper, and it's back on the grill. I'm going to show you how juicy this meat is. Look at that. You guys see how juicy that meat is? Look at that. Okay? So all I'm doing right now, I'm just cutting this into squares. Look at that. Look at the juice. Now, this is the point. This is what has the fat running through it. Look at that. Man, it slices like butter. You guys can see that juice. Look at that smoke ring. Unbelievable. Crazy tasting. Look at that. All the way through. Look at that juice. Look at that. Okay, so all we're going to do, let me see if I can show you. We're just going to cut these rascals into squares. Okay, all right. So all we're going to do, guys, with that burnt end, we're just going to put this right inside of that mixture, and we're going to cover it with foil. And all we're going to do is put it back on the grill. Now remember, your flat is still out there as well. Look at that. Unbelievable, guys. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make it through all this without eating some. Now this is tough. Okay, so this is simply all that I'm doing. The chickens that we had in aluminum foil, my cooler, that same cooler, I put the chickens, I placed 2 towels in the bottom, okay? And I put those chickens in the cooler and let them get finished cooking. Alright, let them get finished cooking. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take this, and it is what, 5:15 a.m. and I'm going to put another towel on top of these, okay? And they're going to sit in here until about 1 this afternoon. So we're going to let them continue to cook. As a matter of fact, here's the towel. I only got one hand, so I can only do so much. We're going to take this other towel, place it in here like that, and we're going to close it up. Now remember, we still got our flat, and we took the, as a matter of fact, come on, let's go outside. Let me show you what we did. We still got the flat on here with the beef broth and the barbecue sauce and the Worcestershire sauce. So it's still cooking. And meanwhile, that's the point. We cut those out. Those are the burnt ends. We're going to let these cook for about 3 hours. And then we got the flat still here. All right? So we're just running straight heat. No need for no smoke or nothing. You can see the butcher paper. That's the flat. We're going to let that continue to cook. And I'm going to show you the money shot coming up. 7, 8, 9 hours now. I'm going to pull out the brisket. Okay, you can see it's in that butcher paper. Let me put it right here. I'm going to put you guys down for a minute. There we go. I'm going to rewrap it. Look at that. Guys, that's it. Boy, that's ugly. Boy. That is absolutely mean. That is absolutely mean. Let me see if I can get a good shot of this so you guys can see it. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn it this way. And you can see where I already made the cut here. Okay? Let me show you guys. The first thing I look for is the smoke ring. Good night. Boy, that is really, really mean. Let me cut a few slices off of here. I try to keep that bark intact. Look at that. You see that smoke ring? Let me cut a few more pieces. Guys, this is that money shot. Let me show you how it falls apart. You see that? When your brisket falls apart like this, you see that smoke ring right there? Matter of fact, let me get the camera. I'm going to show it to you real close so you can see it. Look at that smoke ring. You guys see that? Guys, you talk about good, and I'm going to have to eat some of this too. I can tell you that right now. Let me see if I can cut another piece. And it just falls apart. Let me see if I can show it to you. Look at that. See that smoke ring right there? And look at that. See how it's flimsy like that? That's what you're looking for. It just falls apart in your hand. Okay? And I'm going to have to definitely eat a piece. Listen. We're going to push this to the side. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you this. Oh man, go. You remember? You remember I separated, right? The flat. You make sandwiches out of the point. I'm getting ready to show you exactly what I did with those burnt ends, okay? Hold on. The burnt ends. You can see some of them are black. Let me tell you what I did. I'm going to stick toothpicks in these, okay? And I smothered them in that beef broth. And guys, I had them on the grill, on slow, on the back end. Look at those burnt ends. Look at those burnt ends. Let me give you a close-up shot of it, so you guys can see it. Man, look, I can't resist that. I know I'm not supposed to eat on camera, but I have to do it. So, this is the money shot. That's the flat, and that's the point with all that barbecue sauce on it. And what I do is I slice this up, dip it in that barbecue sauce. Oh God, unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. Listen, I want to thank you guys for coming by. And we're getting ready to release another video next week. I love having you guys as subscribers. We've been doing this, working on 5 years now, where we're doing the smoke, and plus we're catching crappie, and we cook those crappie out down by the lake. Guys, y'all know me. My name is Cam. Until next time, keep those hooks wet, keep those lines tight, and we'll see you on the next turn, okay?